is exactly 3 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side, and this is me welcoming you to yet another time to talk politics and current affairs, which is, of course, a segment of the Eagles Morning Risers Breakfast Show. We call it the Eagles Outlook. And you know, when the eagle is indeed highly soaring in the air, the eagle's eye is one that is you cannot doubt the vision that the eye has, whatever the height it may be. And that's how we will be using the eagle's eyes to look into matters that concern the Nigerian polity. I mean, just recently, we saw on the headlines of Nigerian newspapers a lot of happenings going on in view of 2027. And I remember one of the family members who calls in that's talking about Chimezie, I think all the way from Asokoro, telling us that, look, we are not even done with 2025. And these politicians are already beginning to tinker with our minds into thinking about a 2027. Here we are with quite a number of issues that pertains to life and livelihood. And we've not resolved all of that yet. And we are projecting ourselves into 2027. Right. We have issues with the NNPCL. We have issues with the constant importation of goods and services into this country. And we have issues of our refineries not working, and the constant refurbishing and the painting and the renovation and the rehabilitation. Quite give it the name that you choose to give it to, it is still the same thing. These monies have been going down the drain from administration to administration to administration, and yet we have the ICPC, we have the EFCC, we have all of them, the NSA here and there. I mean, we have them. We have the names, big offices, big portfolios. But it's ripped us dry, especially our treasury, taking our taxpayers' monies, collecting loans that are not substantiated. Nobody can say this is what this loan has really been used for. And enriching themselves and their families, their cohorts, and then leaving the poor masses, the real ones, who are the ones who continue to toil night and day, scampering for survival. I mean, it's the order of the day. Now, this is not to say that there are no persons with good intention. Oh, but I can tell you that these persons are minute few living amongst us. You still remember that saying that says the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. Oh, that's how it is with these sets of people, the good ones, so to speak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Why? When you have all the rottenness around you, and you seem to be the only one out of 100 or 500 people who still have a conscience that is built not just for your family, but looking out for those outside your family, and by that I mean your neighbor. How do you survive? How do you push through? Oh, most of the time such persons are silenced, and we don't hear from them anymore. They say the good ones, they don't last. Okay. When will we turn the tide and say the good ones are the ones that we see preserved? Well, join me as we look into the topical issue today, and looking at the mandatory voting in Nigeria's democracy, civic participation versus individual freedom. All right? Now, the debates surrounding mandatory voting in Nigeria's democracy has indeed sparked an intense voter suppression, and that it would lead to more representative governance. Well, on the other hand, though, opponents are claiming that it would infringe on individual freedom. It would lead us to informality. Now, what is your take? You've heard from the supporters. You've heard from those who are opposing it. But to understand the issue, though, it is also essential to examine the historical context, economic, social, and political factors that contribute to it. I mean, if you look at Nigeria's democratic history now, voting has been a critical component of the electoral process. However, voter turnout has also been inconsistent. I mean, it has led to many arguing that this has brought about the lack of representation for certain groups. Little wonder the talk about agitations here and there. Agitations that is not unconnected to regions calling out for staying independently. I mean, the introduction of mandatory voting could potentially also address the issue, but it's crucial to understand and consider the potential risks and challenges associated with it. But let's just break it down just for a minute now. What exactly is voting? Now, imagine that you're choosing a new class prefect. You get to decide who will lead your class and make important decisions. Now, voting is like casting your ballot to choose the person you want as prefect. Right? Now imagine the school principal saying everyone must participate in the election. You can't just sit back and let others decide. Mandatory voting means everyone who is eligible to vote must do so. So what is the big deal? Some people think mandatory voting is a good idea because it ensures everyone's voice is heard. But others think it is not fair to force people to vote. It's like being told to have to participate in a game and you don't want to play. I mean, that's where the bone of contention is in this discourse this morning, though. But then it also leads us to the place of civic participation as well as individual freedom, because it seems that's where the real issue is. So the question will be, what then is civic participation? Now, civic participation involves actively engaging in the community and democratic processes such as voting, which is about choosing leaders and deciding on policies, public engagement, which is about participating in discussions, protest, yes, protest, you heard me correctly, yeah, or even community events. Then there is community service, which is volunteering for causes that benefit society. Now, this concept emphasizes the importance of collective involvement, especially in the shaping and ensuring that decisions reflect the will of people. Now, let's take a dive into individual freedom, which is, on the other hand, it is the rights and autonomy individuals have to make choices and act without undue restriction from the government or societal pressures. I mean, it involves civil liberties, which happens to be freedom guaranteed by the government, such as freedom of speech, assembly, and religion. And then there's the personal autonomy, where the ability to make choices without external interference comes to bear. Now, the balance between civic participation and individual freedom is very crucial. While civic participation is mostly ensuring that individuals contribute to the well-being of society, individual freedom guarantees that they can do so without sacrificing their autonomy and rights. So in essence, though, civic participation is about engaging and with the community, though, and individual freedom is about protecting personal rights and autonomy. Now, both are essential for a healthy democracy, but then some questions come to bear. Is the Western democracy really what Nigeria needs? Well, that might be just yet another kettle of fish altogether. But as we stick to the conversation this morning, looking at mandatory voting in Nigeria's democracy, right? Let's look historically into, the matter at hand, right? Nigeria's democracy or democratic history dates back to the 1960s. If you didn't know, now you know. Various elections held over the years. However, voter turnout has been inconsistent, and some argue that this has led to a lack of representation for certain groups. Now, the introduction of mandatory voting could potentially address the issue. Potentially. So, it also brings to mind, if you say that I should mandatorily vote, does this mean that I could expressly, when you decide to go out on foreign trips, I could expressly hold you down? Because you made it forceful. It has to be mandatory. Right? I can say, no, you're not going anywhere. You stay back here because I voted you. I did. I voted. I could say that no more health trips outside the shores of Nigeria. Oh, think about the benefits. It does have benefits, don't you think? No more foreign trips. No, stay here. You stay here. You fix the health system and you make it work for us all. I voted you. It was mandatory. You put it right there in the Constitution. You trampled on my freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom to even do certain things. Even though it's my right, but I'm still free to choose whether or not I want to. Does this mean that I can call out the president, whatever the administration, and say, why didn't you fix the education sector? You have to fix it and you must fix it now, and nobody will arrest me? Nobody should come for me because I'm only expressing my mandatory rights? Well, I don't know what your thoughts would be, though, but do you think that this will be a way of indeed allowing for an all-inclusive, one-voice Nigeria, especially at the polls, deciding the fate of generations to come? Is this plausible, feasible, attainable, doable? Is it structural? Is it systemic? Would it allow for us to indeed breathe? Would it stop all this talk about if you're not satisfied with the INEC's position in view of a just concluded elections, go to court? Because it seems to be the language that we have today. Oh, if you're not satisfied, see you in court. And then you know how court processes go. It drags and drags and drags and drags until that administration is over, and before you know it now, oh, we're settling out of court. Don't worry, it's another voting time. It's another electioneering period. Or let's just have a handshake and try again. Are we an experiment? Because if you still think about it, it is still the masses of people that are at the mercy of these political few. Our guest, Sir Benedict Olalekan Agunmoye, who's an information professional, policy and public affairs analyst, will indeed give us his thoughts on the matter today. Good morning to you, Sir Benedict. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Sir Benedict. Welcome aboard to the discourse this morning. All right.
Good morning.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, you might want to project your voice just a little bit. It seems like your voice is a bit far from your phone. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. So, compulsory voting or mandatory voting being considered, they're against to it? Or is it inimical to the democracy that we have decided since 1999 to viciously protect as a system of government? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that mandatory voting is not necessarily the way to go. We should find a means of encouraging more people to participate. Make the registration process easier. Make the process for them to transfer voting points when they need to move. Make it easier. Perhaps have a system that once I'm registered, wherever I may be on the election day, nationwide, I should possibly be able to vote. So if the system becomes more transparent, if the system becomes more seamless, if it becomes easier for people, there will be better participation. Mm-hmm. Yes, we know that there are countries where mandatory voting is being practiced. I think there are as much as 22 of them at the moment. A number of them in Latin America, in Southern America, Australia possibly practice that. I think until maybe some years back, Venezuela, Belgium, and Co. had also tried that. And for each of them, you will notice that for Venezuela in particular, when they transited back from mandatory voting to what you would call voluntary voting, the participation in election dropped from about 82% to as low as 61. So you will realize that more than 25% of people that used to vote stopped voting when it was no longer mandatory.
Right.
And I think when it was mandatory in a place like Belgium, they had up to 96% participation. You actually even realize that some of those who are not participating were not even registered at all. So increasing participation can be a reason for mandatory voting. But the freedom of choice of the individual to participate or not participate, I think, should not be by compulsion.
Right.
We should find means to encourage people to believe in the process, believe in the system, and then participate. Because as of today, when you say, why do some people not vote? They think their vote does not count. Why do some people not vote? They think that the candidate will not do what they promise. Why do some people not vote? It is that they cannot afford to spend a whole day queuing up because they needed to cast their ballot. So if you look at this trend, it means we are making the system easier for people to access. So you can wake up anytime you want to go and vote, you vote and you come back to your house. Not that you leave your house at 8 a.m. and you are in the polling unit till about 7 p.m. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So if we make the system easier, it can be seamless. You ensure that the results are transparent enough. Like some of us are saying, we have a single entry, the data entry point for our election. So why can we not have a result collation portal as against the image portal that IREV represents? If you have a result collation portal, it means that people can, from their polling unit, see that the result that was declared is exactly what is on the portal, even before leaving the polling unit. And so, rather than have collation done in those places, it is for in the world at the local government, at the state level, it would just be for you to now have people coming with the paper results to validate what is already on the system. Which means that by the time the last polling unit impute their results, you already know the final result. They are only waiting for validation. And that makes it difficult for anybody to stop thinking of hijacking SIM ballot boxes on the way, thinking of hijacking voting material. So we need to look more at the electoral process. Make sure that it is more seamless, less cumbersome,
Right.
less demanding on the individual in terms of their time, in terms of their logistics. I possibly in the last election needed to trek 2.5 kilometers and wait for more than 7 hours for me to cast my vote. I think that wasn't good enough for many people.
Now that's a concern for quite a number of Nigerians, and I think you've hinged on the monitoring and evaluation process to make it seamless, where the government should establish at least a system to monitor, evaluate, and make seamless the impact, of voting in itself, right, and make adjustments where necessary. But then there is also this thought where Nigerians are holding family members as well about probably would not come out to vote. And I don't think any administration has done anything or enough in this regard. One of such would be the place of transparency of the process, right? Yeah, the place of transparency of the process, the place of being free of manipulation. I mean, talking about electoral integrity. Another two would be the place of how much voter education do we have before we start talking about any elections or having people to want to come to vote, whether compulsorily or voluntarily. Has any government's done, have we done anything rightly in this regard, as well as even consulting or consultation of public, opinion about these processes?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Before you start talking about participation, you need to look at why are people not voting. Now, like I would always make reference, in the last Edo State election, I remember that one of the party agents, each time they announced results and they talk about the number of voice votes, he stands up to blame INEC for not educating the people. And I look at him, if he is actually a representative of a political party. Because voters' education should involve INEC doing their own bit, National Orientation Agency doing their own bit, the political parties doing their own bit, and of course other NGOs and civil society doing their own bit. Voters' education is not the job of one person.
But who should spearhead it? Who should spearhead it? If you say it's not the job of one person, who should spearhead it?
Oh, INEC has educated the political parties. In the past and in some nations, it is the political parties that do more of educating the voters, because they are the direct beneficiaries of an informed voting population. Unfortunately, we have a party system today where some money bags just set it up for whatever purpose.
So you're saying,
the reality,
if I understand you, you're saying that INEC is not potentially the ones to carry out a voter's education, but the political parties.
It is not the right. INEC is the one to educate the political parties.
Okay.
But the political parties are closer to the grassroots, and so they should be actively involved. I was a child in the Second Republic, possibly in primary school, but I remember clearly that the UPN and the MPN knock from door to door in the town where I live every evening when the people are back from their farm and their market, to educate them on how to vote, on how to identify the party symbol, and things like that. So we shouldn't go away from those traditions. The political parties must be involved actively at their coverage level. INEC cannot go door to door. I think that INEC's duty should be to address the civil society, address the political parties. On should do their job of reaching out to people within their constituency and their coverage areas. So if it's a woman NGO and INEC has educated you, you should look at how you address the women that you cover. So voters education is not the job of INEC and INEC alone. It is the job that spread and go beyond INEC. But INEC, of course, as the owner of the process, should be the one to organize what I will call train the trainers summit, which I think they do from time to time.
So let me ask you. Yeah. Let me ask you. Okay. Hold on a second. All right. Are you there? Are you there? Hello? Oh, come on. All right, well, we'll get back with him in a short bit right now. But let's go pay some bills, go on a recess. We'll be back in a short bit. Don't go away.
Are you ready for this?
Keep that frequency clear.
We're live. I woke up with a Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Oh yeah, now logistics. Oh yeah, now logistics. 1, 2, 3. You want order food? Oh yeah, now. Straight to your doorstep. We dey come. Want pick up something? Oh yeah, now. Or drop off something? We dey come. Maybe you need help for shopping? Oh yeah, now. Direct from your favorite. We dey come. You want order your cooking gas? Oh yeah, now. Direct to your doorstep. We dey come. We dey run massive discount. Oh yeah, now. Just place your order now. We dey come. When you order, oh yeah now.
Hurry now and download Oya Now app on the Google Play Store or Apple Store. You can also visit us at www.oyanow.ng or call us on 080-8410-1000 or 081-2355-4000. We are available in Lagos and Abuja. We are now with the call.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Introducing the Mark Homes Limited, your partner in real estate, committed to turning your dream homes into reality. Now selling the Mark Royal Estate, premium mixed-use development by the train station in Kagini, Abuja. Residential plots, commercial spaces, and top-tier infrastructure, all in one vibrant location. Coming soon in Gwarimpa, the Mark Mall, a bold commercial hub designed for visibility, accessibility, and long-term value. Visit us today at Suites 14, 15, and 16, God's Own Plaza, number 4, Chakum Street, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. Log on to www.themarkprojects.com or call 070-7921-9075. The number again, 070-7921-9075. The Mark Homes Limited, turning your dream homes into reality.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Meet the Infinix Note 50 series, defined by pioneers who push boundaries. Its ultra-resilient armor alloy metal frame design gives you that slick, top-notch style. Unlock efficiency with intelligence of the one-tap Infinix AI and circle to search anything on your phone with Google. Need power in a flash? 90 watts fast charge rockets you from 0 to 100% in 38 minutes. Exclusive deals at authorized stores. Get your Note 50 now. The Infinix Note 50 series. Pro design, pro AI.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Things they happen for our community,
Now I can recoup back all the money I have spent on this annoying family.
Yeah, that woman own don't finish.
Let's go and greet them, okay?
Hey! Join Media Coalition and Awareness to hold trafficking, MICAS, on I Wish I Knew radio drama and program every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Join us to kick human trafficking growth of our society. I Wish I Knew radio drama and program is brought to you by Mikas and funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Back from recess now, 34 minutes gone past the hour of 9, and we're still looking at the mandatory voting right in Nigeria. It's democracy, civic participation versus individual freedom. What would be your take on it? As much as it has its gains, it does also have its limitations. But which would have been the best for Nigeria? And then there are also talks about whether or not this is only a medium of trying to steal the mandate of the people. I mean, if you make it compulsory now, it should be so to speak, or somewhat easy to alter, some of these figures here and there and say, well, okay, this one was for this one was for that, especially when you've not put on ground the measure necessary to ensure that such practices, as it were, would not find its ugly head rearing and towering up. I mean, we have seen that. I mean, many a time where election results, rather than announced instantaneously, we see that at midnight, of course, is when the nefarious activity gets on, and then, of course, even the winner is either announced or has been collated overnight. And Nigerians are asking for, hey, have you fixed the place of transparency yet? Have you fixed the place of the gadgets that are used? Have you fixed the place of being able to vote from the comfort of your homes? Have you fixed the place of diaspora voting, where Nigerians who are legitimately, or who are franchised and are legitimate to vote, can vote from wherever they may be? And as it's coming, we should be able to see it in real time, the results. Have you done that? Or are we still going to be going through more cases of see you in court and then handshakes here and there? And then these court cases become the tussle for a 4-year term or an 8-year term of whoever the administration, or which administration is on board at the time. And then it's the time wasting for Nigerians. It's even heavier on the shoulders of the judiciary as well. I mean, you do more work. So what about thinking about how to make it easier, make things easier? How to also reach out to the people and ensure that the mandate that has been given to you by the people, empowered by the Constitution, is seamless. The process is transparent. And that the people are very much aware. How much awareness, how much voter education has been out there? Even though the guest says that it is not solely the job of INEC to educate. That what INEC does is educate the political parties. And so it is behoved on the political parties to educate radically the electorate. But then, what would be your thoughts in this discourse right now as we go engaging? I mean, it's going to be a quick one. So as you calling, just go straight to the point after giving us your name and your location. And don't forget that we also have a television that we are hosting across social media platforms. Precisely YouTube, subscribe at Eagles FM Abuja, and Facebook. Give us a like, give us a following, give us a share, and leave your comments in the comment section. And I will take your messages right there at Eagles FM Abuja. Spread the Eagles wings across social media platforms. As you know, it's X, Twitter, that's formerly it is. And of course, looking at Instagram and TikTok at Eagles FM Abuja. The number to call is 0907 353 0044. The other number 0908-766-8888. WhatsApp portal number 0909-705-4450. This is the window that you have, roughly 5 minutes. Let's get talking already. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Odo, good morning.
Good morning to you, Honorable Edwards. You're calling from Apo, yeah?
Thank you so much, Son Apo.
Awesome. Let's go straight into it, Honorable. What's your take on it?
I have so much interest about this, compulsory or mandatory voting. What I have interest is that it doesn't mean our NAS member, they don't have anything doing there. Do you know that? If I to contest now, you have your right not to vote for me. Let's say we have only one president in this country. And if I won the election to only me in a political party, or maybe there's no other person contesting with me, you may decide not to vote for me. It is your right. What happened? I think about what happened if you are involved in an accident on that day. What happened if maybe your polling unit is not safe? This herdsmen attack and kidnapping and all those things. What about the bad boys? If you don't have access where you can vote, what are you going to do?
Okay,
so I don't know. If I may ask you, who is even the mover of that particular bill? That person should be recalled. Thank you. God bless you.
All right, appreciate that one from you, Honorable Edwards. Honorable Edwards asking questions right there. Says, what in the case of unforeseen circumstances? What happens in that case? Isn't it the right of the person, of an individual, to rather choose to vote or not to vote, in an elections? But then if we leave it at that and say that, okay, be that as it may, even though some truths are there, the question will now be, hope we would not also have sycophants who would indeed, after an election has been resolved and settled, will still come out and become the bad mouthing and shaming the leader or the president or the governor or the minister when they had the opportunity to change things, to be a part of the process, and they just refuse to. Okay, hope that wouldn't be the case too, because we've seen that happen not once, not twice, where people say, I proudly they come out and say, I did not vote him. So who did you vote? In fact, I did not even vote at all. Because I don't believe in the system. I mean, the system has failed me not once, not twice, and I believe that my voice cannot be heard, so there is no need for me to cast my vote or cast, into the ballot, right? But is that also something to consider? However, there are also thoughts about safety, insecurity. How secure will I be in the process of exercising my constitutional right? Have you built the enabling environment just yet before tasking me or pushing for a mandatory, or if you like, a compulsory voting process? I mean, the NBA have come out recently to stating that it is unconstitutional. That's right. The Nigeria Bar Association right there saying it's unconstitutional. That every man has a right within the premise and confines of the Constitution. But how far are we going to stretch the Constitution in this regard as well? Because there are still people and persons who would still tell you that it will be constitutionally right, and they'll tell you it is based on technicalities. And I'm sure you've heard that before a couple of times, the interpretation of the Constitution, and then we hear technicalities coming on here and there. But well, Sir Benedict, are you there? Hello? Hello, Sir Benedict.
Hello?
Yes, are you there? Well,
yes.
Time would not allow for us, but you've made some very clear points Now, if you were to give a wrap, to this discourse and put it to rest, so to speak, in view of the mandatory voting that is being pushed for, what will be your final thoughts?
Well, my thought is straight. We don't need mandatory voting as a law, but we need to help to make the system adjust in such a way that there will be more transparency, there will be more accessibility, and there will be more education when we come to voters' education, so that people can connect with what they are doing. And of course, on the part of the politician, there should also be more accountability while in office, so as to encourage the people to know that, no, if we vote right, we will get better results.
Right.
That's my final take. We should encourage the people to vote by making the system transparent, by making the voting process easier and accessible, and by ensuring that there is accountability from office owners.
Okay. Appreciate that one from you, though, Sir Benedict Olaliko Gunloye. You are an information professional, right? And you also a policy and public affairs analyst. We look forward to more conversation with you in the coming days. Appreciate. Right. Well. Just as being said already, the Nigeria Bar Association now strongly condemned the proposed bill before the House of Representatives, seeking to make voting compulsory for all eligible Nigerians, describing it as unconstitutional, draconian, and an affront to civil liberties. This is where we call it a close, though. My name is Udwak Daniel, and I want to say a big thank you to you for taking a listen, and also being a part of a social media campaign that is ongoing across all of our social media platforms right there. You want to go see it, go now and give us a like, give us a following, and be part of the family. I'll be right back, or we'll be right back